Okay, we're back. We had technical difficulties, but we're going to see if we can get my special guest on here to tell her story about her situation that she recently had with fibroids. I told her to log off and log back on, and let's see if that will work. So she should be on here shortly. Again, I don't like to tell anyone's story. I like you to tell your own story, and nobody can tell your story like you. So I'm waiting to see if she's gonna log on before I get her on here. I already did a live earlier. Today's topic is fibroid stories. Today's Halloween. Happy Halloween to everyone. So I thought I would tell the most tragic story that I experienced with fibroids, and I told that earlier today, so you can see that on the live I did earlier. Go straight to the main page of USA Fibroid Centers and you can watch my story. So I'm allowing other individuals to tell their story as well. It's not to spook you, even though it's Halloween. We're not trying to spook you. It's more so to show you that you're not alone, and you're very relatable to a lot of women. So here she is. Let's see if we can do this again. So that should work, right? Been in here. Hi, there you are.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
That's good. I'm glad our mutual friend, Shay, referred you to me because
Fine.
I'm always looking to talk to different women about their fibroid stories. And I do this twice a month on USA Fibroid Center's page. I am a brand ambassador for them. So I don't want to say anything else. I want you to tell your story. When did you first find out you had fibroids?
I first found out in 2017. That's when I went to a doctor's appointment because I was experiencing a lot of pain, sleepless nights. I had to go to the bathroom like 3 or 4 or 5 times a night because they were sitting on my bladder. And I just took a conscious decision to go deal with my health. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to the doctor. And 2017 is when I found out.
How many did you have when you went to the doctor?
I had 14. And I'm
14?
like, at the time I was 135 pounds at the time. I had 14 fibroids in my stomach. Yes.
So how big was your stomach?
I looked like I was pregnant. So one of the reasons why what led me to go really seriously medically deal with it, I went to a restaurant one day and this guy was like, congratulations. And I'm like, congratulations for what? And he's like, congratulations, you're pregnant. And I'm like, I am not pregnant. Like, it was
Oh.
I couldn't knock him because I really looked pregnant. And that's when I realized, I was like, yeah, I got to do something about this. This can't continue to happen, you know?
Have you ever heard of fibroids before you went to the doctor?
Ever heard of it? So I've never heard of fibroids. When I was diagnosed with it, I called my mom and my grandmom. I was frantic. I was like, I'm about to die. I have fibroids. Like, being
That's
because
that's
I kind of like education on fibroids. So I was freaking out. And my mom was like, okay, I had that. And I was like, what? Spoke to my grandmom, spoke to a lot of women in my family, and I'm like, they're like, yeah, it's normal. And I was like, normal? Like, so then is when I realized, I'm like, we're suffering in silence. These be conversations that we need to be having in our households. Had I known that 10 years ago, I might have made different life choices, what I'm making now. So
right.
my mom, she had a hysterectomy at the time because she had kids. So she made that executive decision to just go ahead and, take her womb out because she didn't need it anymore. My grandma, my aunt, the same way. So, yeah.
Wow. When you went to the doctor and they diagnosed you with fibroids, what were the options to remove your fibroids? What did they tell you?
They told me I can do the myomectomy surgery, which is only taking out the fibroids from me. That was one of the biggest, actually, options that they gave me. So I was like, you know what? I will do that. And at the time, I was so frantic, so couldn't even remember what was the other options. I just wanted it out of me because I was in pain. You know what I mean?
Do you remember if UFE was an option they gave you, uterine fibroid embolization?
Wasn't.
And let me educate you. That's pretty
Yeah.
common. Most doctors don't give that option as a procedure to remove fibroids because it's minimum cost and it's non-invasive. Of course, a surgery procedure would cost more money versus a non-invasive procedure. So most doctors, unfortunately, and I've heard this story so many times from so many different women, they do not offer UFE. But that's why I became a brand ambassador for USA Fibroid Centers, the platform that we're on right now, because they have several locations around the country that perform UFE procedures. It's unfortunate I was in the same exact situation that you were in. When I went to my doctor, I seen 3 different doctors, and all 3 doctors told me the same thing: hysterectomy or a myomectomy. And I'm like, at the time, I have a daughter now, thank God, but at the time, I hadn't had any kids. I felt like, I'm too young. Why are you offering a hysterectomy to me? I just didn't understand. But because I was unaware of my options and I never heard of UFE, which I could have performed that procedure, I went with a myomectomy like you did. I was scared. I tried to hurry up and get them out. I was constantly in the restroom just like you. And it's just unfortunate that most women are unaware of fibroids. Just like you, several individuals in my family have fibroids, several friends have fibroids, and we've never, not one time, talked about it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
That's discussion in the household, which needs to be done. Because like I said, I would have made a different life choices, what I've done 10 years ago to now. It would have been totally different. And
tell me this, what was the most uncomfortable moment? Because it's Halloween, so I'm trying to get everyone to tell their weirdest, craziest stories that they had with fibroids. So what was your craziest stories you experienced? Just one story you experienced with fibroids when you had them.
I like to tell this story because it gets a lot of people's ear, but sexually, it hurts.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm done. Like, you know, and it spooked out for me in my relationship because I felt less of a woman, not able to please my boyfriend at the time. Sorry. You know, I couldn't do the positions and what, you know, all that exciting stuff that he wanted to do because it hurts. Even after that, I was in pain for like 2 days after. And I'm like, don't touch me. Like, I don't care. You know, it really put a strain on time. So I was like, yeah, this can't happen. I need to go figure.
Did you open up to your partner about it, or were you embarrassed?
He was on a lot of my doctor's appointment because
Well, that's good.
having fibroids, that was causing infertility for me as well. So he was figuring out, he was like, it ain't me, what's going on? So I always present in my, you know, doctor's appointment to kind of figure out what was going on. And I mean, some days were better than some because he was sometimes inconsiderate. He's like, dang, I just want this. Like, you can't give me that. But my body was unable to give me that because of the pain that I was in sometimes, you know?
Yes, and I've heard that fibroids, because the communication is not there with fibroids, it's broken up marriages and relationships and friendships and it puts you in a mental state of mind where you become depressed. Because I became very distant from everyone. I separated myself from everyone. My relationship became non-existent, and till this day, he still doesn't know why. He doesn't know why I just left.
Right.
I just literally disappeared. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to have an accident in front of him. I wasn't in a situation to where it was painful sexually, but I didn't want an accident to happen during intercourse. So I said, you know what? I'm leaving the earth. I am going to just disappear. And that's what I did. I just left. And that was not a good decision. It's just, I was scared and I didn't know what to do. I wasn't connected with USA Fibroid Centers, the company that I'm a brand ambassador for right now. And once I started to connect with so many different women that were in the same position that I'm in, or even worse positions, I opened up more. Yes. You know, I became very open with my situation. So I'm glad you're telling your story. What platforms do you use to tell your story?
For mine's right now. So the last year has been really tough. So in the future, my plans were to actually have forums with us talking, because when I decided to share my story on Instagram earlier last year, I didn't realize how much that would have been so influential to so many women. I was getting pictures and a whole story, and I was like, man, I know I need to get out more, especially in our community. Those are health is not a thing that we talk about in our community. So to have, you know, open conversations and not suffer in silence with these things, it really boosted my confidence and my urge to really help more women in my community. So in the future, definitely. And I would love to work with you guys, you know, just spreading the word.
Absolutely.
Educating women on this and just enlightening this whole situation in terms of fibroids, uterine fibroids.
Absolutely. I would love, the more the merrier. The more people we have that speak up than speak out on their situations, the more women we reach. And I want to reach as many women as I can, because most women feel like they're alone. They suffer in silence. They don't speak up on the situation. But I've been taught to keep my menstruals quiet, wrap your napkins up, don't tell anybody about your menstruals. And that's part of our culture. It's time to talk about it. And if I think the more we talk about it, the more research can be done to figure out why they're here in the first place. Because till this day, we have no idea where they come from, why they're here. We can suspect why they're here. We have opinions on why they're here. People say it's the estrogen or it's genetic, and you can go down the list on so many different opinions, but there's no pinpoint solution to the core issue as of right now. So it will be great for you to, continue to do maybe a couple more lives with me in the future.
Definitely would love that. That sounds awesome.
Well, thank you for talking with me. I hope you
Thank you.
continue to use your platform, and maybe I can come on your platform and talk about my story, and we can help each other reach as many women as we can. How
Yes,
about that?
most definitely. I love it. Thank you so much for having me, and
Of
I hope to
course.
see you soon.
And happy Halloween. Spooky,
Hey,
spooky, spooky. Thank you. Bye.
bye.
All right.